What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Akram Ahmed says we need 6 players. Thanks for the contribution there, Akram. But Paul Pogba has dropped a huge Manchester United exit transfer hint on an international break. What a bloody surprise. I told you about this. I told you this would happen on the international break. I said that either De Gea, Pogba would be subject to a massive transfer story on this international break because it always happens. So what Paul Pogba has said is that it's the dream for any player to go to Real Madrid, especially now Zidane's there. But he did also say, I'm very happy at Manchester United at the moment, but we'll see what happens in the future. Now, personally, I would just want to say, first of all, let's not start a hate campaign against Paul Pogba. That would be really stupid because I don't think that's what... I actually agree with what he said. Shock, controversy. But the second thing I would say as well is you should never, you should never judge a book by its cover. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Unless it's porn, because obviously on the cover you're going to get porn and in the side you're going to get it porn. Or it's a book written by Katie Price where it's going to be shit. But in relation to this... judging Paul Pogba on those comments, you could easily say he's been disrespectful. He has undermined the club. I agree with that. It's undermining to the club to say that Real Madrid's the dream move for any player because that says Real Madrid are better than us. But a lot of people would think that. But as United fans, we're not going to think that. So it is going to irritate us. But actually, the way I chose to look at this is that I said this about 2 weeks ago, and I've said it a few times on the United Stand. When we signed Paul Pogba, I never thought he was coming here for a decade. I think a lot of you think he's here for the decade. I always felt we were getting Pogba for 3 or 4 years, and then he would go to Real Madrid or Barcelona. I've said that for years on the United Stand, so you can find the videos, and I said it about 2 weeks ago as well. I felt that he was coming here as a sort of stepping stone. He wanted to come back, but he wasn't coming back here to retire. It was come back here for a bit, then go to Real Madrid or Barcelona, which, like a lot of players, it seems to be their dream to play for Real Madrid or Barcelona. So until the English Premier League screws those two over and makes it the best league in the world, you're always going to have that problem. So I always thought that with Pogba, so it doesn't surprise me. I think some people are getting angry about Pogba because they think, oh, he's going to be our captain and he's going to be here forever. Well, maybe he will be, but I never thought that. So I'm not angry with him about that. He has been here for 3 or 4 years. But the most important thing of all is, I don't think he's going to leave this summer anyway. And when he says in the future, I think he maybe means next summer. I think that's when he might leave. I think he'll be at United for another year. But the most important thing about this is, he is Paul Pogba, World Cup winner. He is Paul Pogba, who for the last 3 months has been one of the best midfielders in the world. And he is Paul Pogba, who could be playing Emmerdale Cup football next year. We must remember that. There's this pleading and accept, we almost expect this loyalty because we're Manchester United, and we don't look upstairs. We don't look at the structure of the club. We don't look at the fact that over the last 6 years we've made massive mistakes. We've never been in a title race. We've finished second once and we were about 50 million points off the title. And every other season we've been battling for fourth. And some of those seasons we haven't even finished in the top 4. So if you're Paul Pogba, World Cup winner, one of the best midfielders in the world, it doesn't matter what you think of Manchester United. If we're going to be battling for fourth for the next 2 or 3 years, in his prime years, why would he not want to go to Real Madrid? I have to say that. I have to retract and look at it in a very cold-hearted way, because obviously United's what I'm all about. I sort of understand where he's coming from. I don't like what he said. I've got to be honest with you. I don't like the fact that he said, well, Real Madrid's everybody's dream and Zidane's there. It does undermine the club that he's at. I don't care what anybody says, because he's a Manchester United player, and as Manchester United fans, we don't want to hear that. Whether it's the truth or not, you don't want to hear it. Liverpool fans don't want to hear Salah on international duty saying, it's a dream to play for Real Madrid. Hazard at Chelsea, although he has said it, but you know what I mean. No club would like it, so there's no problem with us not liking it. But actually, I think it's a warning sign to the board that we cannot afford to be fighting for fourth place next season. We cannot afford to be nowhere near titles, because people like Pogba and De Gea will go, and I accept that. With the run of games, I really believe Pereira can fill Pogba's role, says Chris Tizanzi. Pogba has been loyal, but it's time for him to win trophies. We're not there yet, which I think is a fair point. Keep Pogba, sell Sanchez because he's a flock, says Akram Ahmed. Get him out, says Eden Shaw. Well, I knew there would be some people who were very angry with Pogba about it. I sort of get it. I think ultimately what I would say about Pogba is I think he just shouldn't say it publicly. If you want to go to Real Madrid, some people suspect that anyway, but don't start saying it publicly, because it is going to upset some fans. But like I said, he does say at the end of it, I'm very happy at Manchester United at the moment, but we'll see what happens in the future. But that still hurts because you don't want to hear, when Ronaldo used to do it, we didn't want to hear that. You didn't hear Scholes or Keane or anyone like that doing it, really. You don't want to hear. We're a very big club, Manchester United. We've not been a very big club for 6 years, but we see ourselves as one of the biggest clubs in the world. We pride ourselves on that. We don't want to hear our players telling us that there's a bigger club than ours that everyone wants to play for. Whether it's true or not, of course it's true. Of course it's true. I accept it's true, but we don't want to hear it. That would be my criticism of it. But I'd certainly implore people not to start hating on Pogba, not to start saying get out and all this stuff. He's been very good in a Manchester United shirt. He's spoken glowingly about Solskjaer. He said that it's fun to play football again, and he is a Manchester United player, and I don't think he's going to go this summer anyway. Maybe long term he will, but I always expected that. So that's my thoughts on it. There is only so much and so long money can help you hold on to top players, says KB. Pogba nowhere near as consistent as Robson or Keane, says Stephen D. Wilson. For heaven's sake, I'm bored with Pogba's hints. Start playing well and shut up about other clubs, or sod off, says Lynn Hall. Pogba doesn't deserve Manchester United, says David. And bench him, says somebody else there. The reality is, whether you like it or not, the club chose Pogba over Mourinho. They did do that. If we'd kept Mourinho, Pogba was going anyway. The reality is, a year ago, Pogba was offered to Man City. We know that. Pep admitted it. It has happened. I just think we're on a level footing with Pogba at the moment, and I think if Manchester United offer what Pogba wants, i.e. off the field and on the field, he'll stay at Manchester United. But I don't think we need this negativity around Pogba at the moment. And actually, I think it was a silly comment. I think it comes across really crash and blunt. But I think what he was really saying is, he was asked a question about Real Madrid, and he maybe should have answered it, well, Zidane's a great player, a great manager, and I'm sure he's going to do great things at Real Madrid. That's all he should have said. He shouldn't have said about it's a dream move for any player, and especially now Zidane's there, because it does disrespect Manchester United. I'm sorry, it does, but I don't think we need to make a massive deal about it. If he did, and actually, you know what? If he did leave, Manchester United would be fine. Is Paul Pogba as consistent as Roy Keane or Paul Scholes? No, he's not. This is the frustration with Pogba. We stick up for him all the time as a United fan base. On his day, he's fantastic, but he's still rather inconsistent. So if he did go to Real Madrid, he'd probably still be inconsistent. So, it doesn't bother me really. Rob101, hi Mark, I'm a sports psychologist at Premier League club. I know the sports psyche at United, then there is a big thing at the minute about the culture of the club. What's your thoughts on sports psychology? We could do a show on that altogether, mate, but I think that sports psychology is important, and it's developed over the last 2 decades quite massively. But I still think that it should be a far distant second to a well-run dressing room. I think what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does is quite good. He has lots of chats with players on an individual basis, because everyone's got different personalities, which fits into sports psychology. Of course it does. But thanks for the contribution, Rob. Nick P says, I'm sick of the press, to be honest. They know Pogba likes to voice an opinion, and they constantly ask him the same questions about Madrid and Jose, etc. Exactly. I think you're right, Nick P. I think, Pogba really should just not answer these questions, because he has spoken about Mourinho in the past, and the press know it. But there's loads and loads to talk about. Tonight. Jadon Sancho, Costas Manolas, Antha Herrera, Irving Lozano, Saul Niguez. Let's go Saul Niguez next, actually, because Saul Niguez is apparently going to go to Manchester City. Pepe is going to go to Bayern Munich. A lot of you like Pepe, the winger, playing in France at the moment. He's going to go to Bayern Munich. Saul Niguez is going to go to Man City by the looks of it, and maybe Dybala going to Liverpool. So, whether those deals happen or not, there's a lot of things happening, and I think we're already starting to get these rumbles of discontent in the United fan base going, Bayern are making moves, Man City are making moves, while Woodward's there getting a bloody Tampax deal or something. I don't know. And the reality is, we don't know what's happening with Manchester United. The lack of a director of football concerns me. Who does the deals? Who's the football man? Is Solskjaer being consulted? Or is, as I said last night, is Woodward going to be the man picking the players? Because if it is, he might get us a Bale, which would be a disaster. But we've got to wait and see. I mean, De Ligt apparently going to Barcelona for 60 million quid. I think if he's got a choice between Manchester United and Barcelona at the moment, he's going to go to Barcelona, isn't he? Because they are a better club than us, and that's what we're fighting against. But we've got to make some significant deals this summer. Now, encouragingly, I'm a big fan of Hirving Lozano, and I read it in Sport Witness today, and I think it was via Calcio Mercato in Italy. They mentioned Manchester United and Hirving Lozano, not because we're the main party after him, but because Napoli are looking to take him from PSV to Napoli, but they are facing competition from Manchester United. So it's from an Italian source talking about Napoli trying to sign Lozano, but Manchester United are winning the race there. I've spoken about Hirving Lozano probably touching 4 years now. Even when he was back in Mexico, I was saying there's this lad in Mexico. They call him the Mexican George Best. He's meant to be brilliant. I'd love to get hold of him. Again, I would like to get hold of him. I think he'd be really, really good for Manchester United on that right-hand side. But I've got to say, Hirving Lozano from PSV probably cost you 50 million quid. Jadon Sancho from Dortmund's probably going to cost you 80 million quid. Get in the comments and tell me what you'd choose, because for me, as much as I like Hirving Lozano, I would go for Sancho, because Sancho is... I don't know whether it's the English thing. I don't know whether it's the fact that I think he's got the higher ceiling potential-wise. But I'd be very happy with Hirving Lozano. And also, I think what you get with Hirving Lozano is... I think it's that sort of... I don't like to say it, but that sort of... That mentality that I don't know whether English players have this mentality yet. We're starting to see an improvement with it, with Southgate in the World Cup last year. But I think, I've grown up with English players who sort of, do they really apply themselves? And I think the two best examples are Rooney and Ronaldo. You've got the foreign player who comes to the Premier League who... they look after themselves. They're not interested in drinking. They're fit. They're professionals. They're professional footballers, and everything about them is professional. And look at Ronaldo's career now, still well into his 30s, scoring hat-tricks in the Champions League. Rooney's more or less the same age. He's in America getting pissed. It's like, there's nothing wrong with what Rooney's done. I think if I was a professional footballer, I still would have liked to drink. But what I'm saying is, with Lozano, you're going to get that professional attitude, and you're probably going to get it with Jadon Sancho as well. But what I wouldn't mind out of the two of those, but I'd probably would lean more towards Jadon Sancho. Shantana Dar says, if Pogba wants to leave, I respect his decision. 300 million, we need the right price. No point of keeping someone whose heart isn't there. Well, that's a very, very good point. Just going back to Pogba for a minute. If Pogba is angling for a move to Real Madrid, you start the bidding at 220 million. That's I don't know what you lot think, but you start the bidding at 220 million. He's a World Cup winner. He's been very, very good under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We spent nearly £100 million on him 3 years ago. Inflation, ability, achievements, start the bidding at 220 million. And then if Real Madrid give us 220 million for Pogba and he wants to go. But I don't think Pogba will go. I really don't. Rooney scored a hat-trick apparently the other week. Never heard of it because it's a pub league. And why not get both, says Tyrone Williams. Yeah, why not get both? Lozano is better than Sancho, says Ila Saban. Ronaldo is an exception, though, in terms of commitment, says Jack Coleman. I don't think he is. Juan Mata. Most foreign players who come to the Premier League, Zola, over the years, they have a different mentality to the English players. And I think it's improving. I think it is improving. But traditionally, your foreign players have a far more professional approach to football on and off the field than the British players did. But it is changing. It is definitely changing. Cam Mochanzdada says, if he's right, manager and fans loving, Pogba's finally playing at his level. He knows very well what he's saying. Hope this is a contract tactic. Yeah, it could be. And Luke99, just a thought, seems like United only make loads of signings when other teams make a lot of signings, i.e. January last summer, City 1 transfers, Spurs 0. Yeah. Well, United have got to do business in the summer. Which brings me on to the centre-back thing. I just want to bring this up because Manolas has been mentioned again. We spoke about Kostas Manolas, Roma centre-back, Greek. I think he's about 26, 27, around the same age as Koulibaly. He's a slightly worse player than Koulibaly, to be honest. But he's still a very good centre-back. But he has a release clause of £32 million. It would not surprise me, and his agent is Mino Raiola. It would not surprise me if we're signing Kostas Manolas, our centre-back, in the summer. I like Kostas Manolas. Anyone who's watched the United stand for a number of years will know I've spoken about him for a long time. But the reality is, over the last 2 years, he's not really mentioned even in the top 5 centre-backs in Serie A, let alone top 5 centre-backs in the world. And United need a centre-back who is a top 5 centre-back in the world. They need a Van Dijk, what Liverpool did. Costas Manolas is not going to be that. He's just a centre-back. He's another Marcus Rojo elect. Fairly decent on his day, but is he what we need? But I think we might sign Costas Manolas because he's cheap. His release clause is £32 million. And I fear, as much as I like him, and he could be an amazing signing, I don't think he's of the quality that we need. Mark Whitten, if Jose got Real job, we wouldn't be having this conversation, Mark. Exactly. I mean, the Zidane thing's weird. Somebody said the other night, what if Zidane was coming to United? United have now said they're having Solskjaer, so Zidane's gone back to Madrid. I never thought it made any sense for Zidane to go back to Madrid. And maybe he was looking at the United job, and now it's not available. He's gone back to Madrid. And coercively, that means De Gea and Pogba are now a threat because they could leave to go to Madrid because Zidane's there. So it is interesting. Craig McGuller Games HD, I would take Sancho. Love seeing Manchester United getting the best out of young talent. Sancho can become one of the world's best in years to come. Spot on, mate. I think that's pretty much how I feel about it. And Imrano TV says, sick of Madrid players using our name to get a contract renewal. Nice change to have Pogba using Real Madrid's name to get a renewal. Yes. I would love that to be right, Emrano TV, but how many Real Madrid players come out and say it's a dream to play for Manchester United, especially with Solskjaer there? It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different to Real Madrid players maybe leaking there's an interest in going to United, but actually, what Pogba said. I can't agree with what Pogba said, but I don't want to see people turning against Pogba because I don't think that's going to help us in what is a time where I don't think he's leaving in the summer anyway, and actually we've got a massive month ahead, and it could derail us if we start picking on Pogba. I don't think we need to do that. Herrera is an interesting one from Italian sources as well. Again, this is coming from Italy, that Inter Milan are set to miss out on signing Ander Herrera because he's going to renew his contract at Manchester United. We are in this ridiculous situation with Ander Herrera where for the last 4 months he has been able to talk to clubs out the Premier League. He is out of contract in the summer and he could sign for Inter Milan tomorrow and there's nothing we could do about it. It's really, really weird. I don't understand what United are doing with transfers, and I certainly don't understand what we're doing with contract renewals, because Ander Herrera is out of contract this summer. So he can go for free. And how much is Ander Herrera worth? I think is he 30 this year? So he's got to be worth at least 20 to 30 million quid. And he's out of contract. I don't understand. And also, he's so important to us. Like, when Herrera's not playing, you notice it. And yet we've not given him a contract. But it's encouraging that it looks like he's going to sign a contract renewal. But Inter Milan were interested. Akram Ahmed, Varane, he wants to leave Real Madrid this summer. No, he doesn't. He just wants a new contract. He's not going to leave Real Madrid. Why would he leave Real Madrid? He played under Zidane for 3 years. Zidane is French. He is French. He loved playing for Zidane. Zidane's come back. He won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. He's one of the best centre-backs in the world. He's in his mid-20s. Why would Varane want to leave Real Madrid? He doesn't want to leave Real Madrid. He just wants a new contract, like Umtiti and Ramos and every other player that's ever used us. So, yeah, that's not going to happen in a million years. But the Saul Niguez thing, just to go back to that for a moment, is very interesting, isn't it? That he's a player that we've been linked to a few times over recent years. He signed a lifetime contract at Atletico Madrid, so he will cost a lot of money. But Man City, again, looking to go and do a big deal. And this is something I touched on last night. All our rivals are going to go and do deals. I know it wasn't last night, it was on my Instagram stream today. All our rivals, Liverpool are going to spend money. Arsenal will spend money. Spurs will spend money. Man City are going to spend money. And Chelsea will try and spend money. So it's not just about United signing 2 or 3 players. That is a great line that Jose Mourinho came out with for about a year ago, where he said, it's not just about signing players, because if you sign 2 players, but Man City signed 2 players, you're basically you've still got the same gap, the 20-point gap. If Man City signed 2 players, we've got to sign 5 players just to try and catch up with them. And that, Mourinho gets a lot of criticism, but that resonated with me because it is true. You've got to, if Man City are going to spend 100 million this summer, we've got to spend 250 million just to try and close the gap. And I don't know whether we've got the appetite to do that. I don't know whether Solskjaer has the demand to do that. It's going to be a very, very interesting summer. But we cannot afford, going back to Pogba, we cannot afford to lose a Paul Pogba this summer. We look at our team and we need a CDM we need a centre-back, we need a right winger. That's 3 positions we definitely need to improve on. If Pogba leaves, you then need another midfielder. You know, if De Gea was to leave, you need a goalkeeper. If Herrera was to leave, you need another midfielder. We can't afford to be losing players that are really important to us when we've already got areas that we need to spend a lot of money on. Maz says, respect to Zlatan. And we don't plan ahead enough, says Andrew Ellis. No to Griezmann, says Michael Jones. Definitely on that. And G-Star Red Gaming says, I recall Rooney using City to blackmail United into a new deal. Well, Rooney actually said he was leaving. That's what Rooney said, to get a new deal. I don't really think he... and that was bad advice that he retracted very, very quickly. We take too long when buying players, says Jack Faramand. Your thoughts? I think it's a great report, Jack. But remember, how many years ago was it we signed Memphis Depay? Would it have been 3 years ago? It was this international break. It just got announced. I'd love to see United do a deal like that. Announce it now that it's going to happen in the summer. That would be great. Get the summer rolling. But, I mean, it's not being critical, it's not being sceptical. If you're asking me what I expect this summer, we've all had, I remember saying it last summer, the summer before and the summer before. We all do it in May. The season ends and we go, these are the players we need to sell, these are the players we need to buy. We need to make at least 5 signings. And then we end up making 2. And this has been happening for a number of years at United, apart from the years when we haven't finished in the top 4 and we're going in the Europa and we spend big because we need to. So I'm not going to make any big predictions about this summer. We do need to sign 4 or 5 players and we need to remove 4 or 5 players. But I expect us to sign 2 or 3 players and remove 2 or 3 players. We won't do enough. And also, that's a prediction. I hope I'm wrong on that. But the thing is, and I said it a few minutes ago, we have no director of football, and at the moment we have no manager. So, is Solskjaer getting the job? Has he been told he's getting the job? It's all right for us to say it's inevitable he's going to get the job. That's fine. But does he know that? And does he know that enough that Woodward's been asking him about transfers in the summer? Because if he doesn't, Woodward's doing the transfers in the summer. Mourinho for the last 2 years mentioned about lists that he'd given to Woodward, and he'd go, I've given him a list, I'm off on holiday. Now, he obviously didn't always get what he wanted on that list, but he would always say publicly, I've given him a list, I'm off on holiday. Has Solskjaer given Woodward a list? Or is Woodward loving the fact that he's got an interim manager and he's the one in charge doing the transfers? Because if Woodward's in charge of the transfers, I'm worried. He might get it right, but I'm worried. Does he understand that we should be signing people like Jadon Sancho, or does he think that shirt sales and Gareth Bale and Griezmann are more important? Because that's the concern for me this summer. I hope I'm going to be wrong. Hello, Mark. How many transfers and transfer windows do we need to start competing for the title, says Ansaman Singh. I think the season after this, I think we probably need 3 good transfer windows to challenge for the title, to be honest. Yeah. But it's whether we have good ones. Last summer was not a good transfer window, so I wouldn't count that. So, yeah, there've got to be 3 good ones. T. Ballard says, are scouts finding the hidden talent, or are they lacking without director of football to set the vision? We do sign a lot of good players around the age of 15, 16, 17, and we've been doing that for a number of years. The setup around the club there is really, really good. We're just waiting for some of those players to come through, because at the moment, for all these players that we've signed that have been 15, 16, 17, and all around Europe we've signed those players, nobody's really come through yet. Chong is nearly there. Gomez and Greenwood are actual youth talents. But there's a lot of players. I mean, there's that lad, Alua Traore, that we got from PSG. He looks very, very good. He's not quite ready yet. So we've yet to reap the fruits of our labours yet there. But we do sign a lot of good players that are young. It's just whether they make it at the highest level. We need Leon Bailey. I'd love Leon Bailey, Stephen Robotham. Ruben Neves could be a great signing. He would be, but I don't think we'd get him, Luke. I don't think we'll get him because of the George Mendes effect. Woodward bases signings on his own personal FIFA manager mode, only looks at FIFA stats or inform cards of established players, says Mark Whitten. Thanks for the contribution. And Pogba wants to go to Real, but he said Ollie's to stay. Look, as I said at the start, I want to take a few comments on this. What is your problem with what Paul Pogba said today? So Paul Pogba has said that it's any player's dream to move to Real Madrid, especially with Zidane there. But I'm happy in Manchester at the moment, but you never know what the future holds. What's wrong with that? Well, on face of it, it's disrespectful to United because you're saying that Real Madrid are a better club than us, they're a bigger club than us. You shouldn't really be talking about another club when you're at Manchester United. Tick, tick, tick. I agree with that, okay? I do agree with that. But on the other hand, I never expected Pogba to stay here forever anyway. I think some people think that Pogba's going to stay here and retire. I never thought that. When we signed him, I thought he's only going to come here for 3 or 4 years, then he's going to go to Spain. He clearly wants to go to Spain. He's done Italy, he's done England, he'll go to Spain. I've always thought that. So I don't have a problem with him wanting to go at some point. I think he will. I think it's going to be like Ronaldo. Second point, look at who we are. In his time at Manchester United, we've been shit. We've never challenged for a title. We've never done well in Europe. He's already spent 1 year playing in the Europa League, which we won, to be fair. And we might be in the Europa League next season. So as much as we love Manchester United and we think Paul Pogba should be bending over backwards to stay here forever, if we miss out on top 4 and he's back in the Europa League next year, he's one of the world's best midfielders playing in the Europa League again. You know, and I can understand that. It's a threat. It's a threat, really. It's a threat to the club to say, you need to pull your finger out. I'm one of the best players in the world. He believes he is. And I'm one of the most sought-after midfielders in the world. And some really good clubs want me. But this club, all right, it might be a great club, but on the pitch it's not. It's a threat. And the club needs to respond to that. And as I said, the structure above is going to be the thing that defines our next few years. I don't think it's the playing staff to a certain extent. I think the manager's going to be the right manager in Ollie. But if it's broken upstairs, it's going to rain on us downstairs. So that's looking. It's what they do upstairs. What are the signings this summer? Who's in charge of those signings? I would love to know whether Solskjaer's got control of the signings this summer or whether Woodward has. I'd love to know that because Solskjaer is going to be judged on them next season. Is he a manager who has to... And there are managers out there. This is how a director of football works. If you've got a director of football, they'll talk to the manager, but the director of football basically makes the decision and the manager has to manage with the players he's provided. Is that going to happen at Manchester United, where Ed Woodward is basically a self-appointed director of football who delivers players to Solskjaer and tells him to get on with it? That could be the case. But we need to know that as a fan base, because if we sign Bale in the summer, is that Woodward's decision or is it Solskjaer's decision? Because if it's Woodward's decision, you can't have a go at Ollie. It's interesting. Nick P says, Mark, with a new season comes an older and better Rashford, Martial, Delo, an older and slower Fernandinho, Aguero, Silva. Everything balances out. Not if they go and buy the next lot, mate. If they get rid of Fernandinho and they bring Saul Niguez in, if they get rid of Aguero and they bring in Icardi, you know, evolution, and it's relentless what Man City do. This is what I mean. They don't just spend a lot of money, they do it year in, year out. If you know, how many right backs did Pep have before he settled on Kyle Walker? He just goes and goes again. How many goalkeepers did he have? He just goes and goes again until he gets what he wants. How could big players come to United looking at how we deal with contracts this time of free? It's a very good point. I've spoken about the contract issue again. I don't understand why we let contracts run down. Well, I do. It's money, but it doesn't give us a great reputation. And we should try to go for Kante, says DJ Shah. I'd love Kante. Never going to happen. Never going to happen, though, is it? And I think Kante would probably not want another Premier League move. He'd probably quite like to go PSG or maybe Spain himself. Harry Kane to United, Joseph Lever. I'd like Harry Kane at United. He's 10 times better than Lukaku, but I can't see it happening. Hanan Malik says we do need a striker. We should sign smarter, not bigger or more expensive necessarily, says Luke VDV. I think what United need to do, and this is only my opinion, I think what United need to do is accept they're not going to win the league for the next 2 years. I can accept that as a fan because we're playing good football and we can beat anybody on our day. So that, for me, I can be patient. I hated being patient with Mourinho because in the back of my head I was like, he always wins a title, but this football's dreadful. But he always wins a title. But it was a long process. It was annoying. Under Solskjaer, I'm like, if somebody says you're going to win the league in 2 years, I'm happy with that because I know that Solskjaer is building something. There's a philosophy. I like the style of play. And if I was Manchester United manager, I would be trying to get De Ligt. I would be trying to get Jadon Sancho. I would be trying to get Ndombele. I would be trying to get those sort of players who are, 18 to 23. The best players in the world who are 18 to 23, who are gettable at reasonable prices. 18 to 23-year-olds that are at bloody Man City already, you know, your Phil Fodens, your people like that. You're not going to get those. But Jadon Sancho's at Dortmund, De Ligt's at Ajax, Ndombele's at Lyon. You can get those players. You get those players. You don't expect to win the league straight away because they've got to adapt and grow themselves with the manager. But in 2 years' time, they're adapted. Rashford's 2 years older. Martial's 2 years older. They're coming into their prime years. That's what I would like to see United do over the next couple of years, is go for those slightly younger players at the clubs where we can get them and build. If you get Bale or you get a Griezmann, you're doing what we did with Matic and Sanchez. They've got to come in now and deliver now, because in 2 years' time they're finished. And that's the mistake we made with Matic and Sanchez, because we haven't got a team that's ready now. So even if Matic had come in and played really well for 2 years, by the time we get the team where we need it to be, he'll need replacing anyway. So I don't want a Griezmann or a Bale, because I don't think we're ready to win a title for 2 years. And in 2 years, Bale's 32, and in 2 years, Griezmann's 30. So when we come into our prime, they're finished. So I think United need to go for that sort of player. I wish United would buy back Memphis Depay. It's just Craig McCullough Games HD. A lot of people feel like that. Chloe Jenkins says, Mark, did you read the report that United have been talking to Real Madrid about a keeper swap? Apparently Quartaz said no. If he has to leave, he wants PSG. I would not want the giraffe neck at Manchester United anyway. I don't like him. I didn't like him at Chelsea. There's just something about him that doesn't make me feel warm and happy inside. I wouldn't want him at Manchester United anyway. So if he doesn't want to come here, great. Absolutely fantastic. Which player would you get from Lyon in the summer? Fekir, Memphis, Aouar, Mendy or Ndombele? It would be Ndombele or Memphis for me. And I would go Ndombele. Okay, so please do smash a like on the video, everybody, and subscribe if you're new. Actually, I'm just going to do this shout out now because it's the peak time to do it. The show's not over. I just want to say this. We are entering the Football Blogging Awards this year. We won the Football Blogging Awards as the best new channel about 4 years ago, and we've not really entered ever since, but we're back in it this year. In the video description, you can vote for us, the United Stand. We've got a great community. If you vote for us, there's a good chance we'll win. If you look in the video description on how to vote, if you're on Twitter, all you've got to do is copy and paste the bit that says I'm voting for @UnitedStand MUFC in the FBAs for Best Established Creator. Within the speech marks, just copy and paste that and tweet it. That's all you've got to do, and that will enter us. Or you can click the link next to it, and you can automatically do it through like a click to tweet thing, but it's probably easier just to copy and paste. If you want to vote for me, Mark Goldbridge, as Best Influencer, again, the paragraph underneath that, I'm voting for Mark Goldbridge in the FBAs for Best Influencer. Just copy and paste the speech marks bit and tweet it. That's it, it's done. On Instagram, it's even easier, and if you're not following us on Instagram, what are you doing? The next paragraph down tells you how to vote for us on Instagram. Simply head to that link, which is the Football Blogging Awards page, and then all you need to do is just click on either Best Established Content Creator or Best Influencer, and just tag. Click on there and just tag @Goldbridge Mark on the Best Influencer picture and @United Stand TV on Best Established Content Creator. I really would appreciate it if you did it, and if you do it, there's so many people who watch this show now would have a really good chance of winning it. So please go into the video description afterwards, take a minute to do it, and it would be really, really great if you could. We've got a big day this weekend, actually. On Sunday, we're doing the trials for the United Stand FC football team, which is another big step forward for the community. We're going to be a lot of the community that we've built. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on with charity and stuff with that as well. So the channel goes from strength to strength. It would be nice to win an award, whether it's individually or collectively, for the United Stand. So please do. Everybody vote, says Daniel Miller. It takes a minute, and we've built this channel from nothing, all of us. So it would be great, absolutely brilliant to do it. Tony Martial says, where's the treadmill video? It's coming up tomorrow. I've got the treadmill in there. I've got the pink boots. Check me on Twitter. I've got the pink boots. The treadmill video is coming up tomorrow, but it will be on Twitter and Instagram. It's not going to go up on YouTube. So I might put a little... No, I would never put it on here. It's only going up on my Twitter and Instagram, and hopefully not viral. We buy these players. We need what if they're stuck at Calais in the back of a wagon for months due to Brexit and miss half the season? That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And Memphis is not a Premier League player, says Boyan. Lukaku for Werner, what do you think, says Goldbridge. Goldbridge, says Harris King. Well, Werner's going to Bayern Munich, so Werner's off the plate. But if you're watching my Manchester United career mode, you'd probably be thinking Werner would be perfect for Manchester United because he can't stop scoring. Shantana Dar says, all those thinking about Milinkovic as a replacement for Pogba, they are dreaming. Maybe have someone like Dembele and a decent midfield plus strength in other positions. Right back, right wing, centre back and a striker. Milinkovic-Savic is not the right replacement for Paul Pogba. He's had a dreadful season this season. There we go. Celtic plays in a weaker league than United do, says Michael Jones. They certainly do. Next year Man United game for me will determine if they can make top four, says Mr. Hyder 97. Dybala. Look, you know what? If Saul Niguez goes to Man City, he's a very good signing. I'm not going to go down this road of saying they're shit just because they're not coming to us. He'd be a very good signing. If Dybala goes to Liverpool, it's what I said to all you lot. I like Dybala. He's massively inconsistent though. He is, and I like him. And if he came to United, I would be excited. But he's massively inconsistent. He really is. On his day, he's brilliant, but he drifts in and out of games quite badly. And if you think Pogba's inconsistent, Dybala is worse. I mean, Dybala gets dropped by Juventus quite a lot. Could he do it in the Premier League? I don't know. Doesn't mean we shouldn't sign him though. Never going to happen. But what would you have Sterling at the club? Says Ashford. I mean, you'd have to say yes. I think his trajectory of improvement has been stunning. I never would have predicted Sterling would be that good. You've got to give a lot of credit to Pep on how he's took his game. I always thought Raheem Sterling was a bit of a headless chicken. A bit of an Adama Traore, a bit of a Marcus Albrighton. Good on their day, but their decision making not that great. I think he's. For me, it's him or Van Dijk for Player of the Year. But he would never come to United. I don't think Pogba's leaving Ted Plays, no. I think Pogba's made a silly comment. He said, it's everyone's dream move to go to Real Madrid, especially with Zidane there. But he also said, I'm happy at Manchester at the moment and we'll see what happens in the future. I think it's a very silly comment from Pogba. I don't care what anybody says. I like Pogba. I think it's a silly comment. International break is always a trap. Don't answer the media questions about domestic things. It's the rule number one. Because somebody always does it on international break. It always does. And it always seems to be Pogba, to be fair. He shouldn't be talking about it. He's silly to do it. But I don't think it means he's leaving. I don't think it means we need to be angry with him. I think actually, in fairness, if he'd kept it private, I haven't got a problem with him wanting to go to Real Madrid. I never thought he was going to be here forever. And most importantly, we might be in the Europa League next year. He's one of the world's best midfielders. If he wants to go and play for one of the world's best teams and we can't offer him that, why are we moaning? I think people are angry with Pogba because they think he should be going, I love this club, I want to stay here forever. He's already left us once to go to Juventus. I think he does love this club, but I think he puts his career first. He did it back when he went to Juventus. He will do it again. United need to provide a platform for Pogba. United need to be fighting for Champions Leagues and Premier League titles, and then I don't think Pogba will go anywhere. But can we do that? And again, it goes back upstairs. Are they going to deliver those circumstances? Because if we're fighting for top four next season, he'll go 100%. And I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't actually blame him. People get mad with Paul Pogba when actually you should be mad with the people upstairs not providing the team that he should have around him. He can't do it all on his own. And at the moment, the problem at the moment with Manchester United and Paul Pogba is if you mark Pogba out the game, you destroy United. Matic and Herrera are not creative. Pogba's the only midfielder we've got who can create things. So if you swamp Pogba and you swamp Martial, which is what Wolves did last week, we're redundant. We don't create any chances. Because Herrera and Matic can't do it. Who the fuck was playing on the right-hand side anyway? Lingard was very, very poor. So Pogba needs to be surrounded by better players. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe it's a cry for help. All those think... Yeah, we've answered that. Anyway, please do. Can I just say, links in the video description. Video description explains how to do it. Vote for us on Twitter, United Stand. Just copy and paste the speech marks bit for both and tweet it, the United Stand one and my bit, and then go onto the Instagram link, click on Best Content Creator and tag at United Stand TV, and tick on Best Influencer and tag at Goldbridge Mark. And make sure you follow us on Instagram as well. But please, it will take 1 minute. I'm finishing the show 1 minute early, so you can do it. And A few people are already saying that they've done the voting, like Jimmy Chalmers. You're a star, Jimmy. Absolutely, really, really appreciate it. Make sure you smash a like on the video. We're back again tomorrow as usual at 8 o'clock. And please get voting and subscribe and drop a like. But yeah, the voting thing would, takes 30 seconds to do it. Really would appreciate it. And I'll see you tomorrow, where I'm sure we'll have another big transfer story, because that's what happens on this international break. I'm right. You're right. We all predicted it. Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon.